were the target of a utility scam, would you know? The Public Service Commission of the District of Columbia is spreading the word about utility scams and what you can do to protect yourself, your family, and your community. Hi, I'm Emile Thompson, Chairman of the DC Public Service Commission. Today I'm joined by DeShaundra Jones from Washington Gas and Light. DeShaundra serves as a Senior Director for the Customer Experience. Thank you for joining me today, DeShaundra.
Thank you for having me.
So DeShaundra, tell me a little bit about your role and what Washington Gas is doing to protect consumers.
Yes, so Senior Director of Customer Experience means I have accountability for all of our customer-facing channels, be that social media, our call center, our walk-in offices, etc. So what we're doing to protect our consumers is we're being ever vigilant to see what is happening externally and making sure our customers know about that and that, really they contact us first. The theme of today, I think you'll hear me say, is if you feel uncomfortable, please call us first.
I think that's a great segue, that line, into what we're here about today, utility scams. And so if you could just kind of tell us what you're seeing from your perspective in terms of utility scams.
Sure. It's interesting. Things have been evolving over the years. And here recently, what you've been seeing, especially in the pandemic, is folks asking for immediate payment to prevent disconnection. So it's you'll get a phone call or you even get an email. Sometimes folks may knock on your door in this pandemic and say, hey, I'm here to disconnect, or if you don't wire me X amount of dollars, or even Cash App and Zelle me X amount of dollars, then the next 30 minutes you'll be disconnected. Something as extreme as that. So we are seeing those types of things and asking customers to call us.
Okay. You mentioned contacting Washington Gas. How do customers do that? Like, what's the phone number?
So you can contact us at 844-WASH-GAS. That's 844-927-4427. Certainly on the website, washingtongas.com, or Twitter, Facebook, using the same Washington Gas.
Okay. With respect to the scams in the pandemic, have you seen an uptick in scams or any difference in the way the scams are conducted?
That's a great question. So we have seen an uptick in scams recently, especially during the pandemic, and not just for Washington Gas, but utilities as a whole, being a member of United Utilities Against Scams. What we know is that they've changed in method. So you're seeing more text messages, you're seeing more phone calls and emails. And rather than having folks go out to make payments, they're asking people to wire them or do them via Cash App, Zelle, those types of things. So just trying to accommodate or seem accommodating. I'll just mimic what I've been saying today as a whole. If you feel uncomfortable at all, please call us, and please know that we don't demand payment in that way.
The person who's being targeted in these types of scams, is there a certain demographic or a certain customer class that are being affected, or is this kind of like equal opportunity?
Well, that's a great question. One would say it's equal opportunity, but honestly, there are some customer classes that are being impacted more than others. Our seniors are being impacted. They seem to be a bit more vulnerable and fearful of what they're being told. Sometimes what we've seen is Spanish-speaking customers. If the person calling is also Spanish-speaking, they seem a bit more trustworthy or trusting of that person. And then from an economic class or socioeconomic standpoint, we're seeing folks who are in a vulnerable position there being targeted as well. What we say, what DeShaundra says, and certainly the company as well, is that, if you feel uncomfortable, please call us. We're in a pandemic and we're not disconnecting. Yeah. So if you have a phone call from someone who is demanding payment, please know that that is not Washington Gas. We don't take payment through Zelle or Cash App or Bitcoin, which I've even seen here recently. We don't do that. So if someone's at your door and they don't produce ID or they're calling you, hang up and call us first.
Okay. You've touched on two of the most prevalent types, the phone calls and the door-to-door.
Sure.
I'd like you to talk a little bit about the email scams.
Yes.
And, tell us what you're seeing with respect to that.
So it's similar to what you see through a phone call. You get an email and it says you are in jeopardy of being disconnected if you don't pay X amount of dollars. Sometimes they give instructions for wiring the money. Sometimes they say call this number and take care of the payment. But luckily, we haven't had any customers fall victim to that. We have had customers call us and let us know that it's happening. What I didn't mention is they're also doing it via text.
Okay. Now, we've talked about kind of what's happening right now in terms of the scams. What can I, as a consumer, as a customer, do to, be more vigilant? What are some of the red flags? I know you've talked about some of them, but what are some of the red flags I should really be looking for?
Sure.
To make sure I don't fall victim to these types of scams?
Luckily, when Washington Gas calls you, your caller ID will say Washington Gas. There are these things called spoofers or spoofing I've seen recently where numbers look similar but are not. So, pay attention to that. Pay attention to folks who ask and demand payment via a specific method. We offer many different types of ways to make your payment and do not specify, in most cases, ways for you to do that. So be vigilant there. Take a look at your bill, take a look at emails that you're receiving, and if there's a question, if there's any question, then please call us.
Okay. Now, let's say, unfortunately I do fall victim to one of these scams. What should I do? What are my first steps?
Yes, you should still call us. Okay. And what we will do in many cases is contact the authorities on your behalf. We will also try very hard to get the number shut down if you still have that information, working with UUAS, as I mentioned before, and some of the phone providers. So you can call us. The other thing that I've seen recently with the Cash App and the Zelle is that you can contact them if you happen to fall prey to someone who asked for that, and they in many cases are working to refund those dollars as well.
Okay, that's certainly good to know. Before we end here today, I want to see if you have any last thoughts or statements, anything that you think that consumers really need to know as these utility scams continue to go on.
Yes.
Any last words of wisdom?
Yes. If someone knocks on your door and you feel uncomfortable, if it's Washington Gas, we are required to produce identification. You can always give us a call and let us know someone is there if you don't want to talk to them, and we can check to see what is happening. If you feel uncomfortable, again, I'll just say, please call us first. We want to make sure that we are interacting with our customers in a way that they do feel safe and that we are trusted energy partners. And so, use us in that way is what I would say today.
Okay. Well, definitely thank you for being here today, DeShaundra, and sharing these very important nuggets and words of wisdoms. We hope our customers are able to take advantage of this.
Thank you for having me. This is extremely important. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. For more information and resources, please visit the DCPSC's website at fightutiliscams.com. Thank you.